Coming up on Global Business, the State Administration of Foreign Exchange says China's forex market remained largely stable during the first 3 months of the year. China continued to increase the scale of its international development cooperation over the last few years, giving high priority to countries in need. Ending our special series, Fields of Hope, on China's rural revitalization, we walk you through the agricultural areas in southern China's Jiangxi province. From CGTN headquarters in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Zhu Junfeng. First up, Chinese President Xi Jinping on Friday presided over a meeting on deepening reforms, discussing strengthening enterprises' roles in innovation, improving state-owned economic management, and promoting private economy development for Chinese modernization. The meeting deliberated and adopted these opinions on strengthening the principal position of enterprises in scientific and technological innovation, opinions on strengthening and improving state-owned economic management to effectively support the construction of Chinese modernization, and opinions on promoting the development and expansion of the private economy, among others. Now let's take a look at Chinese foreign exchange revenue for the first quarter of this year. The State Administration of Foreign Exchange says foreign exchange settlements stood at $546 billion during the first 3 months of the year, while forex sales was around $561 billion. In March, net forex sales of commercial banks stood at nearly $16 billion.
Transporter capital flows have largely remained stable. Foreign exchange sales and settlement ratio remained stable, and so also foreign exchange reserves. The administration will deepen reforms in the area to further improve transporter trade and finance and better serve high-quality opening up.
Meanwhile, China has just listed its first 3 30-year bond futures on the Chinese Foreign Futures Exchange today. As a derivative transaction of Treasury bonds, the 30-year bond futures will further enrich the varieties of Treasury bond futures and financing activities and boost development of the economy. The development history of China's long-term national debt dates back to 2001. Since 2016, China has been improving its long-term Treasury bond market with a new pattern dominated by 30-year bonds. Now, as the first top-tier auto show in the world this year, Auto Shanghai is in the spotlight. China's new energy vehicle brands are becoming more competitive in global markets. Official data shows that China's electric vehicle exports to the European Union grew by more than 50% since October using the China-European Express. Guo Tianqi visits the Chinese southern city of Chongqing to see how the rail link has changed cooperation and operations at the Lava Auto Company.
The Ministry of Industry says China has topped the world for 8 consecutive years when it comes to manufacturing and sales of electric vehicles. Experts says China's advantages must be converted into competitiveness overseas, and the industry must look to the world. Now, according to official data, there's been a 57% quarter-on-quarter increase in the number of EVs exports via the China-Europe Express in the first quarter of 2023. And the Automobile Manufacturers Association says China exported 248,000 EVs in the first quarter, up 110% year-on-year.
We started exporting new energy vehicles last year. We have established a flagship store in Azerbaijan and built 70 sales stores around the world. We plan to build more than 200 sales and service centers by the end of this year to provide better after-sales services for users in the Middle East, Russia, and South America.
This factory is only a 30-minute drive from the dock of the China-Europe Railway Express. After a series of examination, the new energy vehicles produced in Chongqing can reach Europe within 20 days. The freight rail link connects Chongqing in southwest China with Germany, passing through Alashankou in Xinjiang province, Kazakhstan, and Russia. Now routes and international stops are constantly being added. Before the line was opened, costs were higher in Chongqing, one of China's vehicle manufacturing centers.
We first had to take the car to the port of Shanghai by the Yangtze River and then go north run through the Arctic Ocean or south through the Strait of Malacca to reach Europe.
Achieving carbon neutrality by 2060 is a commitment China has made to the world. It's hoped the growth and expansion of its electric vehicle industry could go some way in reaching that goal. Guo Tianqi, CGTN, Chongqing.
For the first time in 4 years, a broad international audience and exhibitors have been brought together and discuss about the future of the automobile industry. Zhang Shixuan has more from Shanghai.
They are all here at a 360,000 square meter auto show, watching new models from emerging Chinese brands and communicating with business partners.
For the time being, I'm still curious to get an overview over the market, and therefore I'm really keen to see all the exhibitions of the local producers.
Yeah, it's actually my first time in China, and I think it's very interesting to see, especially how the German brands are preparing or presenting themselves here in China.
The broad international audience brings a huge potential market for auto suppliers. They include German-headquartered ZF Group.
If I look at the developments here in the auto show and I look at how advanced the products are that are coming on the market, it's been so dynamic and so much has happened even during these difficult pandemic times. And the technological solutions that I see in the vehicle sector coming out here, wow, I'm pretty amazed.
Stefan said the company's sales in the Asia-Pacific region, which are mainly in China, take up almost 1/4 of its global sales. And that share is expected to rise to 30% by 2030.
What is interesting is here our Pro AI. I introduced Pro AI last time, Auto Shanghai, and I said, look, this is a variable automotive-graded supercomputer, the fastest in the world. And many people were asking, okay, now this can perform 20 to 1,000 teraops. That's a lot. Who needs this? What changed is many come now and say we need more.
At the auto show, ZF announced that it will have its global innovation base right in China. Its fourth tech center will start operation later this year in Guangzhou.
If I specifically focus on the Asia-Pacific region, especially on China, this is the most advanced new energy vehicle market. And what I anticipate is probably the tipping point somewhere around 2025. China is obviously the biggest player in Asia-Pacific. It's the biggest automotive market. It's for us, ZF, obviously a focus market.
Just last year, when the group locked in a sales revenue of almost 44 billion euros, it launched a series of new production and R&D projects in the Chinese cities of Jinan, Guangzhou, Shanghai, Hangzhou, Shenyang, Zhangjiagang, and Yuzhou. Zhang Shixuan, ICS for CGTN, Shanghai.
Moving on to some other news from China that we're tracking this hour. China's industrial internet industry saw an impressive 15.5% increase in value last year, topping out at 1.2 trillion yuan, according to the Ministry of Industry and Information Technology. Daily trading volumes at the Shanghai and Shenzhen stock market surpassed 1 trillion yuan for 14 consecutive days. And Chinese telecommunications company ZTE said revenue rose 4.3% in the first 3 months of the year to 29 billion yuan. Net profit stood at 2.6 billion yuan, up 19% during the same period. Watching Global Business, still to come after a break. China continued to increase the scale of its international cooperation over the last few years, giving high priority to countries in need.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business, only on CGTN.
This year marks the 60th anniversary of China sending medical professionals abroad for humanitarian assistance. Speaking at a foreign ministry briefing, spokesperson Wang Wenbin said providing medical assistance to other countries is an integral part of China's foreign assistance efforts. It's also a shining example of China's commitment to building a global community of health for all. Since China sent the first foreign medical team to Algeria in 1963, a total of 30,000 medical professionals have treated 290 million local patients in 76 countries and regions. Wang says this medical aid has no strings attached and is free from geopolitical calculations. Food security is also one of the key areas that China has been actively involved in terms of international cooperation. In fact, China has taken the lead role in global efforts to improve food security for developing countries. We'll take a look at how China has been actively involved in food assistance projects advocated by UN agencies and more. Besides medical services, China has also helped upgrade infrastructure in other developing countries. Most of the efforts were done under the Belt and Road Initiative over the past decade. Since 2013, China's Belt and Road Initiative has raised nearly $1 trillion of funding for more than 3,000 projects around the world. Over 400 million jobs were created and processed, which could eventually lift 40 million people out of poverty. More importantly, China did not pursue short-term profits with those investments and focused on sustainability instead. For example, among all the energy projects China invested in Belt and Road countries in 2020, more than half were actually built for renewables. The New Development Bank, or NDB, recently issued a $1.25 billion green bond. For more discussions on that, let's bring Leslie Mestrop. He is the Vice President and Chief Financial Officer of the New Development Bank. Thanks for joining us, Leslie. Lastly, we talk about the NDB's efforts in Macau. I really remember the insights you provided for us. Thank you for that. And today, let's talk about the green bond that NDB recently issued. How will NDB exactly use the proceeds from the green bond?
Thank you very much for having me. As you know, the New Development Bank is a significant financier of infrastructure, sustainable infrastructure projects throughout the BRICS countries. In China alone, we have invested in large numbers of renewable energy projects. You just made reference to some of China's investments outside of the country. We have, solar rooftop projects in Shanghai. We've got offshore wind projects in the Fujian province, for example. But this particular bond that we have issued, $1.25 billion, is focused on financing select green projects in Brazil, in China, in South Africa and India. So we've identified 15 projects that will be financed through this bond. What is significant about this bond is that this is our first entree into the green bond space in the dollar market. For the last number of years, we have issued multiple bonds in the Chinese interbank bond market that are green. There are sustainable bonds. We also issued a SDG bond, for example, in China. So we are already an established player in raising financing in the green format.
Right. Leslie, why has this bond issue been quite attractive to many investors, including private investors, including government-affiliated investors?
So New Development Bank, like many multilateral development banks, we are very highly rated entities, which means that from a credit worthiness perspective, we are some of the most attractive institutions. The New Development Bank, for example, have a AA plus international credit rating from Standard & Poor's and a AA flat rating from Fitch. We are one of the highest rated banks in the whole of China and in the emerging markets. Many institutions are required to buy bonds from institutions that have such high credit worthiness. In this particular bond, we pay what we call a coupon, a rate of interest, to these bondholders of 5.125%. So it is attractive for the investors. Plus, they derive the comfort that their money will be devoted to greening the planet, to reducing carbon emissions. And many of our countries, as you know, China, South Africa, India, all of our countries are focused on greening their economies as we work towards a net zero economy by 2050.
Right. We know that China has been advocating green development a lot and has been invested in a scale that far surpasses any economies around the world. How has China participated in international green cooperation in terms of technology? We know China is leading in solar and wind, in terms of finance and also aid to some developing countries.
China today, as you know, with respect to the ambition, it is the second largest economy in the world with a GDP over $18 trillion. Secondly, China has, as you know, the largest greenhouse gas emissions footprint at just over 27%, which means that the country has a significant leadership role to play globally as the largest developing country that has to now decarbonize over the next 3 decades or so. In many of the key sectors, the country has already demonstrated significant leadership. Today, as you know, China is the single biggest investor, the single producer of renewable energy. We already spoke about solar and wind power, but also in terms of electric vehicles, battery storage, China is a world leader. China has obviously the advantage that it has a planning system that commits all of their state-owned enterprises, the provinces at a local municipal level. All of these are captured in 5-year plans and in targets, if you like. And you can already see, I've been living in Shanghai for the last 7.5 years. You can see just in terms of the quality of air, in the numbers of electric vehicles on the road, that you can feel the impact of the plans that China has implemented. But one cannot be complacent. There's still a long road to decarbonize the heavy industries, aluminium, steel, cement. There's still a huge amount of effort that needs to go into the decarbonization process. The key point to make is that institutions like ourselves, right, Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, we play a role in helping the government with this green transformation.
Thank you so much for your insights into this. That's Mr. Leslie Mastop, Vice President and CFO of the New Development Bank. Thanks for joining us from Dubai. A group of young people from Laos are attending a training program in southwest China's Yunnan province to learn about railway technology. This cultural exchange program aims to cultivate specialists in this area for the Southeast Asian country. Yang Jinghao has more.
These students from Laos have been learning railway technology in China since March of last year. The training courses are provided by a Railway Vocational College in southwest China's Kunming, a terminus on the China-Laos Railway. Since this landmark project went into service in late 2021, Laos has seen a high demand for talent in this field.
When this training program wraps up, these students will become the first batch of teachers sharing their knowledge of railway technology in their country. They say it's something honorable, but at the same time, also challenging.
The first barrier for them was language, as most of them didn't know any Chinese. So in the beginning, the courses were given with the assistance of interpreters. A year on, the 40 trainees have made noticeable progress.
I've learned a lot here, not just knowledge from textbooks, but also practical skills, including how to recognize apparatuses in the engine and how to drive a train. The school has also arranged a lot of practical training for us.
That includes on-the-spot training at the city's railways, aiming to increase their practical abilities. A specialized vocational college in Laos will begin enrollment this September. The trainees say they are looking forward to their new roles.
I will bring all the professional knowledge I've learned here back to Laos and cultivate more railway specialists for my country, which hopefully can contribute to the better operation of the China-Laos Railway.
Their teachers say they have the utmost confidence in their abilities.
Though they don't have any experience in railway sector, they are diligent and hardworking. I believe they will become pioneers of the sector or even masters in their country in the near future.
On April 13th, the China-Laos Railway launched the cross-border passenger service. It's expected to greatly facilitate travel between the two countries. The trainees say they hope the railway will play an active role in further promoting bilateral cultural exchanges, just like the program they are attending. Yang Junhao, CGTN, Yunnan Province.
It's time for a special series in China's rural revitalization, a major strategy put forward by the Communist Party of China at its 19th National Congress in 2017. In the subsequent years since the policy took shape, those policies helped raise farmers' per capita disposable income by almost 50%. Nearly 100 million rural residents who had lived below the poverty line managed to come out of poverty as of 2020. Meanwhile, China's annual grain yields remained above 650 billion kilograms despite pandemic disruptions. That's more than 1/4 of the world's total. In the next few days, CGTN reporters will visit the agricultural areas in southern China's Jiangxi province to understand how these policies have shaped up. While picking asters beneath the eastern fence, my gaze upon the southern mountain rests. This is a famous quote from the renowned Asian Chinese poet Tao Yuanming, who was born in Jiangxi province. Tao's work was mostly inspired by his post-retirement rural life back in hometown, and a kind of quietness and simple joys are still appealing to modern people. Now we take you to Jiangxi and find out how a province there with very limited farmland has shaped up to be a rural dreamland.
Jiangxi is an inland province in southeast China, where the Yangtze River extends into a network of lakes and marshes in the lower course. The province is 10% covered by water, and the weather stays warm for most of the year, all of which have added to the efficiency and diversity of Jiangxi's agriculture. So despite having only 2.3% of the farmland in the country, Jiangxi is a major producer of rice, oranges, and freshwater aquaculture products in China. Jiangxi is nearly 80% covered by mountains and hills. While this does put a limit on farmland, it also creates favorable conditions for certain crops that grow well in terrace gardens, such as tea bushes and the Gannan navel orange trees. Complex landscape also form the beautiful and unique sceneries in Jiangxi, including the fields of oilseed rape featuring bright yellow flowers on the slopes that draw millions of visitors every spring. Besides rural tourism, the Jiangxi government has also subsidized food processing companies and supported farming mechanization to improve farmers' incomes. In 2022, the per capita disposable income among Jiangxi's rural residents rose 5.9%, faster than the national growth.
April is probably the best time of the year to harvest bamboo shoots, and my colleague Dai Kai-yi is trying his hand at digging up the delicacy at a bamboo farm in China's Jiangxi province. Follow him for all the tricks and tips as he checks out what the fuss is about in the annual Bamboo Shoot King contest.
guys, well guess what? Today I'm going to show you something that you probably haven't tried ever before in your life. Digging for bamboo shoots. Well, as you may know, this is a plant species that is famous for its speed of growth, and this is normally how they look in the forests, the bamboo clusters. Well, they usually pop up at around this time every year. So today we're going to try to take out a couple of those bamboo shoots. So now we're going to try to get as much of the bamboo shoots as we can. Well, I should have gone down a little further on that one, but you know, that's not a bad size for a bamboo shoot. It's about the size of my forearm, almost. After digging out bamboo shoots, what you do next is peel off the outer layers until you see the fleshy core. So remember to always cut right next to a node. That way, you get the best possible quality of those bamboo shoots. Well, I have to admit, I'm not exactly a professional at this, but let me show you how the real experts do it. Believe it or not, bamboo shoots are so popular here in Lu'an County of Jiangxi Province that they even have an annual competition dedicated to them. Well, I can't wait to check it out and see what all the fuss is about. So here we are at the contest where they're going to pick the bamboo shoot king. As you can see, members of the audience are having a great time here, experiencing everything that's offered. Over the main venue, people are tasting bamboo shoot dishes. Well, I can smell the aroma from here, and it's making me hungry just thinking about it. If you're interested in something more hands-on, there are sub-venues where you can explore the bamboo making process and even try your hand at painting bamboo shells and leaves. And of course, there's the authentic rural banquet with bamboo tube rice and bamboo shoot dishes on display. The presentation is just beautiful, with everything served in woven bamboo plates and cups. And finally, we'll get to witness the Bamboo Shoot King Awards ceremony. I can't wait to find out who will be crowned this year's champion. Well, it's an amazing event filled with fun activities, delicious food, and unforgettable experiences. I'm so glad that I had the chance to be here, and I hope you enjoyed this video just as I did. Well, I'm gonna go grab a quick bite for lunch, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Have a good one.
With those huge and delicious bamboo shoots, we wrap up this edition of Global Business. I'm Zhu Jufeng. Thanks for watching. CGTN continues with more news and views. Stay with us.
This is CGTN, China Global Television Network.